After this video, I don't want to hear anyone say shit about common sense gun measures ever again.
Today, I'm also announcing that the government will establish a national gun buyback scheme to purchase surplus, newly banned and illegal firearms, the largest buyback since the Howard government initiated one in 1996. Australia's gun laws were last substantially reformed in the wake of the Port Arthur tragedy. The terrible events at Bondi show we need to get more guns off our streets. The government will introduce legislation to support the funding of this buyback scheme and meet the costs on a 50-50 basis with states and territories. We expect hundreds of thousands of firearms will be collected and destroyed through this scheme.
There it is. Same speech, same logic, same bullshit. Mass shooting happens, government fails to stop it, and the answer is always, all right, let's take more guns. And this is why nobody gets to call us crazy anymore. Nobody gets to say we're paranoid or exaggerating. We're watching this play out live in 4K on the world stage because this already happened. Australia already did this in the 90s after Port Arthur. They banned guns, ran a massive buyback, confiscated firearms, and promised people safety. And I didn't just say that casually years later. 5 years ago, I made a whole video about this shit. I literally showed footage. I showed Australians themselves warning about what happens when you let the government do this. People told you back then, this won't stop. Now, here's where people always try to pivot, and I'm cutting this shit off right now. Don't come at me with, well, Australia's only had 2 mass shootings and America has mass shootings all the time. No, we don't, not compared to the number of people we have. Australia's population is barely damn near the size of Texas, and I really don't want to hear that per capita bullshit either. I don't, because stats don't live in reality. Stats live in a bubble. Per capita ignores population scale, poverty, it ignores population density, it ignores the fact that when you have way more people, you're gonna have more incidents of everything, and including the fact that we have over 400 million guns in this country. That's not ideology, that's math. And here's the bigger mistake that people make. They think I'm only talking about mass shootings. I'm not. Mass shootings are the catalyst for the conversation, not the whole conversation, because mass shootings make up less than 1% of gun deaths in this country. Less than 1%. And I promise you, it's even lower in Australia. So you're telling me you're going to disarm everybody, strip people of their ability to protect themselves because of something that happens less than 1% of the time? What about the shit that happens every day? Robberies, home invasions, rapes, assault, murder, stabbings. Those people just don't matter? You're gonna make people defenseless against the violence that happens the most in response to something that happens the least? Do you understand how fucking backwards that is? And to make this even worse, the guns used in Bondi weren't even the guns they've been screaming about for decades. This wasn't an AR-15. This wasn't some weapon of war. It was a bolt-action rifle and a shotgun. The exact gun that Joe Biden told everybody to go get. Just go get a shotgun. Get a shotgun. The exact guns they say are reasonable. The exact guns politicians tell Americans that they'll only need. So now what? Now those aren't okay either? This is why reasonable gun laws is bullshit, because reasonable never has a finish line. They did this in the 90s. People warned about it back then.
A gun buyback that forced law-abiding citizens to surrender their firearms in a nationwide roundup and meltdown.
And now they're doing it again. Now, if you understand drawing a line in the sand and actually meaning it, then the FAFO gear, as you see right here on my hat, on this awesome, beautiful hat, that gear is for you. Because what it means is, look, leave me alone, let me mind my business and live my life. But if you decide to step into my world and try to interrupt my safety, the safety of the people I love and care for, well, you're just gonna have to fuck around and find out what happens to you after that. Because I mind my business, a lot of people mind their business and just want to live their life. But clearly, criminals always want to insert themselves into our lives and do shit that we didn't ask for. So as a result of that, we carry firearms so that if they decide to fuck around, they'll find out. I'm gonna put a link in the description section of this video so you can check out the FAFO design in hats, shirts, t-shirts, drinkware, you name it, we got it. And then also, almost forgot, got the AKT1 Blackouts, my absolute favorite wireless Bluetooth in-ear hearing protection, because, you know, like I like to say, I like to listen to music while I'm at the range. Sometimes I like to take phone calls, so I need something that's protecting my hearing. It gives you 6-time hearing enhancement and also has active noise blocking. So hit the link in the description and check these bad boys out. Here's where this whole thing completely falls apart. And this is the part they don't want you thinking about for more than 5 seconds. Police were there there. A police station was a block away. Police had guns and they froze. They didn't engage, they didn't rush him, they didn't stop it, but a civilian with no gun had more balls than everyone else and tried to rush him with his bare hands and got shot for it. So explain this to me. You want me to give up my guns and depend on the same system that just showed me it can't protect me when it matters most? Are you serious? This is where the government should be explaining itself. Instead, they flip it. Instead of saying, we failed, they say, you need to give up more. That's not leadership, that's punishment. And don't forget, these guns were registered. The government already had control. They already had the paperwork. They already had the system, and it still failed. This guy owned these guns legally, and they're still wanting more background checks. They're still wanting more confiscation. They're still wanting more gun control. So how does taking more guns from people who didn't do shit fix that? It doesn't. And this is why this whole common sense gun control line is a lie. Because common sense would say, if your system failed, you fix the system. You don't disarm the people who are left dealing with the consequences of your failed system. The failure is not even a word, but it is what it is. 5 years ago, I showed you Australians saying this out loud.
The bottom line is people want to know that they have a right to defend themselves.
We come from a small country town and it started happening there, and like just with having a 6-week-old baby, I like to know that I can protect her and that we feel safe in our own home.
I would say that the politicians in this country, in Australia, have missed the boat entirely, and they've harmed a lot of people who didn't deserve harming with their laws and their approach to it.
Because the firearms they still own that haven't been banned have to be locked up, unloaded, and unavailable.
I mean, get real. If I have someone break in here, I've got to go get the bolt, get the rifle, and find the ammunition somewhere else, put it all together, and then defend myself.
That's what gun control looked like on the ground. Criminals didn't follow the rules, law-abiding people were left helpless, and crime didn't magically disappear either. This is about control. And the reason Australia can do this so easily is simple. They don't have a Second Amendment. No line in the sand, no constitutional no. Oversight, banned. Overnight, banned. Overnight, confiscated. Comply or go to jail. And people still want to ask why Americans fight so hard to protect the Second Amendment. This is why. Because if your rights aren't protected, the people in power can just take them, especially when they hide behind tragedy to do it. So no, this isn't about Bondi anymore. This is about a government failing its people and then using that failure as an excuse to take even more from them. That's not safety, that is control. They tried this already. They were warned the first time, it didn't work. And instead of admitting that, they're doing it again. And that's exactly why some of us refuse to give an inch, because we've already seen how this story ends. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.